In today's world, we hear a lot of fancy terms. One term is the pink tax, and for some, it's more than just lingo. Some believe it's a real issue affecting women's income worldwide. This is not only a term, but it has grown to be a genuine concern that some believe contributes to income inequality for women worldwide. So, what exactly is the pink tax? Well, it's a theory that exists that suggests products marketed towards women cost more than similar products marketed towards men. It's like paying extra for being born with a certain gender. Some may even think of it as just a catchy name for gender-based price differences in our daily lives. What it is not is an actual tax. Some may think of it as a sneaky price hike on items that are pretty much the same, but they're marketed differently based on gender. To illustrate this, let's take a look at a few everyday products. For example, razors. Women's razors are often pink and flowery and can cost up to 13% more than men's razors for no apparent difference in functionality. Women typically pay more for items such as razors, shampoo, and deodorant. Imagine having a blue razor and a pink one on the shelf, both doing the exact same job. The tricky part is, it's often hard to tell if these two are genuinely different or if the price difference is just because of their colors. But guess what? Consumer groups and government studies have shown that there are some serious price differences hiding in plain sight. Now, before we get into the present day convo about the pink tax, let's take a look back on the colorful history of pink. See what I did there? Colorful history. Y'all get it? Anyway, when you think of the color pink, what comes to mind? Maybe little girls in pink dresses, playing with Barbie dolls or Disney princesses in their beautiful gowns. Pink has long been associated with delicacy and femininity, but believe it or not, it hasn't always been that way. Let's take a journey back in time to the 18th century. Back then, things were quite a bit different. Little boys and girls from upper class families both rocked pink and blue along with a bunch of other colors. According to research, pink was even considered a masculine color. So, what changed? When did pink become synonymous with girls and blue with boys? Well, the gendering of colors in America is a bit of a puzzle. So, in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, manufacturers began to color code children's clothes to boost sales. Some went with pink for boys and blue for girls, while others did the exact opposite. By 1927, the situation got even more interesting. Different regions had their own interpretation. Some stores like Best & Company in Manhattan and Marshall Field in Chicago saw pink as a boy's color. Meanwhile, Macy's in Manhattan and Wanamaker in Philadelphia considered pink a girl's color. So, there was no clear consensus. People began to think, thanks to the manufacturer's efforts, that pink and blue indeed held distinct meanings for boys and girls by the 1920s. Now, back to the subject at hand. Why should a pink razor cost more than a blue one when they both do the same job? Well, there's quite a few reasons. Tariffs play a big role. In a report from a 2016 by the Congressional Joint Economic Committee, they found that women's clothing imports were taxed more than men's, even when the items were pretty similar. These extra costs get passed on to women by the manufacturers and stores. Then, there's the cost of making products look different but perform the same. It might seem logical to spread this cost across all the products regardless of color, but often smaller batches like those pink razors end up bearing the extra expense. Another reason is women sometimes seem less price sensitive when buying necessities, which gives companies the green light to charge a bit more. Whether it's a pink versus blue toy or a flowery scented grooming product versus a pine scented one, those extra dollars can really add up. And we can't ignore price fixing. It's still a thing, especially in smaller markets. When companies see that women are willing to pay for more similar products from a competitor, it can drive up the prices across the whole industry, leaving women with fewer affordable options. The pink tax doesn't just stop at razors. It extends to clothing, toiletries, and even toys. Women's clothing can cost 8% more than men's, and personal care products like shampoo and deodorant often come with a higher price tag when marketed towards women.
Seeing the so-called pink tax passed in the state Senate, the bill would prevent companies from charging different prices for similar products marketed to men and women, things like razors, deodorant, and body wash. Students at Lake Washington High School are behind the effort, which is based on existing laws in New York and California.
Our group was mostly girls, so we thought this made a lot of sense for us to advocate for, and we were really passionate about it.
The bill now moves to the House for consideration.
But how does the pink tax impact women? Well, it is tough to put an exact number on it, as it's not often in the spotlight. But here's a glimpse. In 2020, the California Senate committees found that women in the state paid nearly $2,400 extra for the same stuff as men. And a 2015 study by the New York City Department of Consumer Affairs showed that women in New York City spent an average of 7% more than men for similar products. Now, you might think 7% doesn't sound like that much, but when you consider that women on average earn just 83 cents for every dollar men make, that extra pink tax really chips away at the money women have for their daily lives and future plans. And there's more. According to that Congressional Joint Economic Committee report, women often face higher borrowing costs, like mortgage loans, despite having a lower risk profile overall. Plus, they're denied loans more often than men. For advocates of this cause, this isn't just about paying a few extra dollars for products. It's about addressing deep-rooted inequalities. But here's the good news. People are fighting back. Advocacy groups, lawmakers, and consumers are raising awareness about the pink tax and pushing for change. These groups have used social media campaigns, petitions, and discussions to help shed light on the issue and hold companies accountable. Now that you know about the pink tax, what can you do to combat it? Here are some tips for consumers. Compare prices. Always check if similar products are priced differently based on gender. Support gender-neutral products. Choose products that are not gender-specific whenever possible. Speak up. Share your concerns with companies and on social media to raise awareness. Advocate for change. Support organizations and lawmakers working to end the pink tax. In a nutshell, advocates feel the pink tax is not just about prices, it's about fairness and equality.